Did Predator just get Disney-fied? Yes, it did. There's no denying it. That is exactly what has happened.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's your favorite YouTuber from the underground, just like the Jam back in the day. Because I'm YouTube's best kept secret, so shh, don't tell anybody about me. But something that I won't be able to restrain myself with today's news, Predator Badlands, according to mainstream media, is the highest grossing Predator film of all time. If you're talking about predatory movies, then you might want to include the ones starring and directed by Woody Allen. I know, awful drum roll, but here we go, folks. And oh my god, this camera is starting again. My camera is a pervert. It likes the two ladies behind me. And quite frankly, I don't blame it. I mean, it is AI controlled after all. But one thing that is not AI controlled is yours truly, because shock horror, I've got my own thought and my own opinion about things. Am I always right? No, but I feel passionate about this because I can smell a dirty rat when I see it.
Yes, hallelujah, it's the video show. And now, the man the BBC calls
Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Why is this camera zooming in and out and shaking it all about like the hokey cokey? But here we go, folks. IGN, Wesley Yim Poole, of all people, has written this article. Predator Badlands, now officially highest grossing Predator film of all time. And that includes the Alien crossovers. I'm going to get to that point as well, ladies and gentlemen. So, what does Wes say here? Dan Trachtenberg, who revitalized Predator with the basics called Prey, which, by the way, never saw a release in theaters because had that been the case, this list might have been different. And the animated anthology Killer of Killers, but he said killer here. I mean, how can you have a killer of a killer? But that's just another whatever, dude. Continued his hot streak with the PG-13 Predator Badlands film. Stop it, you. Folks, I've got to get through this just like Daniel Bedingfield back in the day. Whatever happened to that guy anyway? Yeah, we know his sister was pretty fit, but anyway, that's besides the point. 1983, the A-Team, when that came out with George Peppard.
He said, your mother works street corners and you're so ugly, flies wouldn't land on you. I told you it wasn't very nice.
It was geared at adults, right? Stephen J. Cannell created that show, but then when it was known that kids started to watch it, they had to tone down the violence ever so slightly. The same can be said for Benny Hill back in the day. His formative years were from 1977 to 1983. If you ever had the fortunate pleasure of watching his shows back then, very adult in content, even though it was passed through with some innuendo. You could see some nudity every now and then. Obviously the Hills Angels girls dancing away, writhing their waists and bottoms and boobs all over the place. We loved all of that. And then some of those girls had children in real life. And then Benny brought them onto his show after 1983 and rebranded them Hill's Little Angels. So all the naughty stuff that we enjoyed before was all toned down because kids were involved. Predator Badlands grossed $173 million at the box office worldwide after adding $7.2 million during its fourth weekend in theaters. So basically Disney had to keep this thing running just to exceed expectations. That total figure is made up of $85 million domestic dollars and $88.7 million international dollars. It now means Predator Badlands is the highest grossing movie over the Predator franchise, including the AVP films, which I will get to, by the way, folks, having overtaken 2018's Shane Black's The Predator, which ended its run with $160 million and a half dollars at the box office, the global box office. It's worth noting that Predator Badlands box office total is being compared to figures for previous Predator films, not the ones including Woody Allen in them, that are not adjusted for inflation. But irrespective of Badlands placed on any franchise list, it is more important to ask if Predator Sadlands has done enough business at the box office to convince Disney to invest in the sequel it so clearly sets up. So yeah, if you haven't seen the film, it's really bizarre because at the end, the outro that they called, I don't know, Bill Paxton, whatever the fuck his name was, Derek or Bo, I don't care at this stage, right? He says to Ellie Fanning's character, the annoying android, "Oh, mother's arrived." That was the line that made John Campion wet his pants. I did not get why that was funny. But, you know, you got people like Grace Randolph who say, oh, you know what? The Predator and Ellie Fanning's character, Thea, should bump uglies, consummate, and have babies together.
And in a follow-up tweet, advocates for a romance between the Predator and the synthetic robot.
I mean, are you effing kidding me, Grace Randolph? That's what they want to see, because of course we know that if Elle Fanning's androided character can't have babies biologically, trust me, they're going to find a way to make that happen. Bringing in trans ideology into an Alien/Predator franchise, because that's what we're going to do, folks, to indoctrinate this future generation going forwards, that you too can be f***ed by an alien from outer space, and if you're an android female, otherwise known as a trans person, yeah, then you too can have trans babies or some shit like that. That's what they're going to do with this sequel. They're going to bring it in, and I can't wait. Dan Trachtenberg, not to be trusted. What they do, they say to someone like him, can you revitalize this flagging franchise called Predator? Can you do that for us, please? And Prey came out, and yeah, I've had my issues with Prey. I think for the first 3 quarters, it's actually a pretty good film. But then we get to the last part, and all the men couldn't beat this Predator, but one lone female played by Amber Mid-Thunder. And then, of course, you had all the female squaws going because we beat the Predator and all the men were useless. This is so utterly bollocky. Look, Predator began in 1987 with the much-loved Predator. It is still a beloved film, despite people like John Roker saying, oh, you know what, it's men being men, but we've gone past those times because it gives out the wrong message that you shouldn't be a man, you shouldn't embrace manlyhood, because quite clearly John Roker does actually need to have his tampon removed and learn what it is to be a man all over again. And they just, look, they spend their time here, again, telling you about the film like, I don't care, the Weyland-Yutani crossover. This bit, by the way, really pissed me off, where Dan Trachtenberg says, I was inspired by James Cameron's Terminator 2. Terminator 2, by the way, I'm going to say this on record, folks, the greatest Hollywood action film ever made. I mean, it trounces over Lethal Weapon. Yeah, I love that film. It makes mincemeat out of John Wick. I mean, again, you're comparing chalk to cheese. I understand. Better than Die Hard, obviously. You know, it's just, and I'm talking about as a Western Hollywood action movie, not like the greatest action movie ever made. That's one for another day, I suppose. But oh my God, honestly, you know, when you're saying, Dan Trachtenberg, that Terminator 2 inspired me to make a PG-13 Badlands, you know what? You and Disney can go yourselves in the corner. That's what you can do. And if anybody in my comment section here loves Predator Badlands, all the more power to you. I respect your opinion. Just respect mine that I did not like this film at all. The same way Critical Drinker had his issues with it, and boy oh boy, he wasn't far off the beaten track when he mentioned everything that was wrong with that particular film. And I didn't actually say what he said because I didn't know what he had said until I watched it. I'm like, oh my God, I should have included those points in my original video, which, by the way, is still the highest watched film review I've recorded ever on this channel. So I'm really furious about that. And then this prompted me to visit my online girlfriend, who I like to call ChatGPT. We flirt every now and then. She's quite the saucy minstress. But I asked her, if Predator Badlands wasn't released, what Predator film could be called the highest grossing of all time? She liked my question, and this is what she said. Right, Badlands if it had not been released, here's which film would likely hold the claim of highest grossing in the Predator franchise. From Predator 2, when Danny Glover walks into the Predator spaceship in the end and sees that alien artifact in the trophy room, that's what started off the, oh, do you know what? Let's turn this into a multi-million-dollar franchise. Let's mix Alien and Predator together because it's all under the umbrella of 20th Century Fox, right? Then Dark Horse Comics got involved much later on, and that's what kind of spurned that whole movement on. But the top candidates, and remember what I said, folks, at the beginning, Alien vs. Predator, AVP, as it's affectionately known as, from 2004, its worldwide gross would have been 177.4 million. So obviously it's the overall winner. In my opinion, on this video, I see it as that. When I saw this news article, I actually did think to myself, I wonder if AVP would be number 2 or whatever, not knowing it would be number 1. The Predator 2018 with 160.5 million. So among the solo Predator films, not including the Woody Allen ones, of course, i.e. not crossovers, the Predator is the biggest before Badlands. So which one should really be the top, or would be top? If you consider all films in the franchise, including the crossovers, then AVP would hold the highest gross, since it is 177.4 million, exceed all others. If you only count pure Predator films, including the crossovers with the Alien franchise, then the Predator from 2018 would be the highest grossing. But there's a couple of caveats here. Box office gross is the raw, unadjusted total. It doesn't adjust for inflation. Adjusted for inflation, older films like the original 87 may rank differently. Yeah, it would, but not by that much, I believe. Some crossover versus franchise purist fans might exclude the crossovers like AVP, and probably Requiem in his case, from counts, which changes which film counts as the highest grossing. That's slightly bad grammar there from ChatGPT. So yes, if Badlands never existed, and we all wished it didn't, Predator would likely be the highest grossing Predator era film ever over the Predator would be the top mainline Predator film. And then it asked me to clarify a couple of things, which I did ask chat to do. So the top 5 highest grossing films which Predator, including the crossovers, would look like is this. AVP from 2004, which I'm going to watch tonight, by the way. Alien vs. Predator Requiem would come in at second place at 129 million. And if you go down the list here, what do you notice, right? Up to number 5, Prey. They're all R-rated Predator films, not this kiddified Angel Delight shit that we now get with Badlands. Oh my goodness, the top 5 highest grossing mainline Predator films, not including AVP, would be Shane Black's The Predator, then Predators with Adrian Brody, and then Arnie's all-time greatest at number 3. It is so... It just really blows my mind that, again, you know, we get these kind of shit takes. And again, who are the evil perpetrators involved? Of course, it's Disney. I don't blame Dan Trachtenberg so much, but he may have had a hand in meddling with the franchise, because he's the guy that you call if you want to fix something, and then later on Disney, in their infinite wisdom, will just say, yeah, you know what? We're going to turn into a kiddie franchise. We're going to do away with all the problematic prequels and other solo films and crossover films. And look, I didn't see Alien Earth. I heard it was a bunch of shit. I heard there was definitely a questionable speak and talk about, well, shall we say, cross biologies. And apparently the female lead has a pet xenomorph that she pats. Some bullshit like that. Are you kidding me, man? Really? Oh my god, no wonder I've got my 80s R-rated horror movies like the Nightmare on Elm Street films to watch this week. I've got a whole stack of horror films that I need to get through and watch. And when I say need to get through, not because out of some act of desperation, I mean, I need to watch them because I bought them for a reason to watch them, not to gather dust on my shelves. But oh my god, Disney, you need to go yourselves, you really do, because this is just utterly gross beyond belief. They only kept it running an extra week longer at the box office. Obviously, you take into account Thanksgiving to bump that figure up, right? And it obviously worked. But, you know, the public was sucker punched into watching this film. I thought when it had that sharp 60% or 68% decline in its second week, that would be the end of it. But quite clearly, someone's been cooking the books at cinemas, Walter White style, I don't know. And now we've come up with, oh, it's the highest grossing Predator film ever. No, it's not. It's AVP and it's Requiem. In my mind's eye, yeah, quoting that failed video game of this year, that's what I think it is. But what do you think, folks? Leave your answers below in the comment section. Maybe hit that like button, well, you ought to actually. And whatever you do and whatever I do, I'll catch you catching me for the return of the next video.
Next time on Kung Fu Hot Dog.